right, well, this is Laravel DFW, June 2014 Meetup. So, welcome everybody, if you're watching. We have a couple people joining right now, so if they pop in, we'll let them in. But right now we have David Hemphill, who is a steady member here, Osvaldo, who is also steady and actually is moving to DFW in like a week, so that's pretty awesome. So why don't you guys say hello?
Hello.
Hello.
Cool. Well, so why don't we get started? So I'm going to run through a couple of announcements really quick. I promised some people I would. So let's do a couple of things. Hopefully it will share my screen okay. Let's see here. Alright, so the first announcement is there's a free Laravel class. Noah Glaser is hosting a beginner Laravel 4 class at the Dallas Makerspace. He said it's a 4-part series, and it is completely free. So if free is in your budget, make it out there. Just go to laraveldfw.com/Dallas Makerspace. And I always like hyphens in the middle of everything when I do URLs, so it's Dallas-maker-space. So, next one, Don Vuxwan knows of a job opportunity looking for a PHP developer with 5 to 10 years of experience in PHP and JavaScript. If you have that experience, send an email to talk@laraveldfw.com and we'll get you connected up to the right people. And then lastly, actually that's not supposed to say job opportunity. This is supposed to say PHP World. Whoa. Quick editing there. Okay, PHP World. Yeah. On November 10th through 14th, PHP World is happening in Washington, D.C. They are having a call for papers, so if you're interested in speaking on Laravel and can give a talk, they cover airfare and hotels. You can kind of look at the whole thing on their website, but if you're interested, email talk@laraveldfw.com. And if you're interested in PHP World, just go to laraveldfw.com/PHP World, and it will take you there. And then there's a little call to papers thing. It'll tell you more, tell you what they're covering for speakers. So airfare and hotels is part of it. So, and that's that. So let's kind of jump right in then. So one thing I do want to say is if you have any questions during the talk today, just go to laraveldfw.com/ask, A-S-K, so /ask, that's it. So just go there, fill it in, it'll send to us, and then we can talk about it here. And so that's great. So without further ado, Osvaldo, how do you say your last name?
Brignoni, I say.
Brignoni?
It's supposed to be Brignoni.
Yeah, there's not like an Inya on it, but I guess it's, you know, yeah. So here's Osvaldo Brignoni, and he's talking about building streams. So Osvaldo, take it away.
Cool. So I've put together a presentation because I'm going to go through many concepts. I didn't want to go back and forth between code and, and the different concepts, so this will help me get through it quickly, and then after that, if there's any particular topic that you're interested in, I can elaborate on that, and I can answer any questions.
Yeah,
so,
sounds good.
Share my screen now. Desktop. Okay. Everybody sees my screen?
I see me.
You see you?
Oh, yeah, it's your screen.
Okay. Okay, so I'm gonna play this. So basically, Streams is primarily a CMS. It's built with most of the concepts that exist in PyroCMS, which is built in CodeIgniter. It's being converted to Laravel, and its 2.3 version is going to be released as a beta now. And basically, streams is, I will call it the evolution of PyroCMS in the upcoming version. Basically, probably, because this is something we are still working out, PyroCMS will probably be a distribution of streams. So it will allow for rapid app development. It will have built-in data structure management, and I'll elaborate on that. And users will present permission powered by the Sentry package. UI components, themes. This are just a couple of things. There's so much more, but I'm going to go quickly through this. So some goals for us at AI Web Systems. I work with Ryan Thompson. He's in Illinois right now, but he joined the group because I invited him. So we work together on streams, and basic goals are this: simple UI for users, easy theming for designers, excellent tools for developers, and easy distribution from developer to user, and that's a key part of what streams does. So some problems and the structure of this meetup is more like, okay, this is a product that's we're still in the process of developing it. So what I want you to take out of this presentation is things that we learned up till now in the process. Some problems that we asked ourselves: how are we going to structure this platform? How to load things? How to empower developers? How to provide designers with freedom? How to make it easy for everybody? And everything keeping in mind that we want easy distribution. So we're thinking like most of the biggest CMSs out there, you know, say Joomla, WordPress, if it can even be called as CMS, I don't know. But most of them have plugin systems and modules that you just drop and they immediately become available. It's a bit different from what we do with Composer, where we register classes and service providers, and we run Composer to update the autoloader. This is like a plug-and-play thing we're going to do. But also taking advantage of most of Laravel's features and Composer packages. So this is, as you all know, the typical Laravel structure. And in streams, we add a couple of folders. We have the add-ons folder, which is in the root, and inside there's the shared folder, and then we have more folders, which is for placing more add-on types. And the core of the app is an app source. And so these are the add-on types that we're developing: blocks, field types, extensions, modules, tags, and themes. So this is a phrase that got my attention by Taylor Ogwell in his From Apprentice to Artisan book, MVC is killing you. And that always, like, I always remember that every time I'm developing. For some reason, it caught my attention. So that's one of the main reasons why we are structuring things in a more modern way, because it's no longer, okay, this is we have a controllers folder and module models and views. Now most of the time you structure with a more expressive vocabulary, and you organize your application using your namespaces in a more meaningful way. So basically this is what a module structure looks like. So inside the modules folder, Hulk will be a module, for example, and you would have language files. You would have the source where all your classes would be. The only required class would be the Hulk module class, but the rest of the things is up to you how you organize your namespace. So you also have that vendor folder, and as you all know, Laravel, when you develop on a daily basis with it, you just have one vendor folder and you have one composer that you run, and all your dependencies go in there. But we wanted, since we have now like we bootstrap the whole application and we load modules from different locations. Because really Laravel isn't designed to be like a modular MVC, but we needed that sort of structure. So really Composer doesn't support multiple vendor folders from different locations. It doesn't seem to by default. You kind of have to hack it, and that's we're going to show you how to do that. It's very simple. So this is what a composer JSON would look like, right? So PSR 0, PSR 4. You basically you put a relative path, and when it compiles the autoload, it will be relative to that autoload file, so it knows where to find the packages. But I don't know if some of you tried this, but you can instantiate the composer autoload class loader programmatically. And so if you do this, you instantiate the loader, you run the add method, which is PSR 0, and then you have the add PSR 4 version of it. And as you can see, it has the leading slashes because it's the prefix was removed from the folder structure, so that you have less nested folders with PSR4, and then you just register. And so, as you all know, you're just letting excuse me, just a moment. Something's happening here.
Yep.
What's up?
We see your screen now.
Oh. So what was happening? You didn't see?
Well, we saw your presentation, yeah. But
oh, okay. So everything's cool. That you hear me fine?
yeah, there's a little bit of a popping here and there, but
yeah, everything's good.
Okay. I was worried. Okay, so let me just continue here. So you're basically just letting know the loader where things are, but it's not loading it yet until you instantiate a class. It won't load. So you're just registering namespaces programmatically. So this is what the structure would look like. You have your root of your Laravel application. You have your vendor folder, composer JSON, and then inside the add-on and the modules, they also it's possible to have vendor folders. But the modules are not really packages. It's just that you're gonna be able to leverage having composer dependencies in that module, and the CMS is gonna load them programmatically. It's not gonna be loaded by the main composer Autoload that's generated. Okay, so basically, this is the hack. We created a package, a simple class that basically runs on the post install command and the post update command. You can put this, specify this anomaly autoload dependency on your require inside your module, and what it will do is it will scan for all the rest of the packages, like for example League, CSV, and Fractal. It will scan and it will generate a custom autoload file inside the module. So in the Streams platform knows when it's bootstrapping where to find these files, and so it will load dependencies in a nested manner. So let me show you. So this is what it would look like, the Streams autoload when it compiles. It will include the folders, because usually when you see an autoload or you register your requires in the composer.json, usually you just use source or a relative folder, but it will include each package's folder in the path. So Streams knows it will loop through all the dependencies and register them. Okay, so another the other big feature is the data structure management, and what we call stream is basically like a model or the representation of a table, but it's an enhanced model that is aware of its columns, and you can extend it with field types, and you have fields, which is an instance of each field type, and you can store settings on the fields, and then when you assign the fields to the stream, it has many events that take care of things automatically, and so it will create the tables. It will have another slide, I think, around here that describes the process. So we also have the stream schema and field schema classes. Basically, you extend these classes, and it's more like a configuration where you list your fields and your settings, and if the field is required, if it's locked, it's not gonna be able to be deleted through the UI. And so when the stream schema is run when you run on the install on a module or any other add-on, it will automatically store metadata about that describes the stream. It will create the table. It will assign fields to the stream. It will generate the standardized language string so that you don't have to think about how to structure if you know the pattern, you just create your language files and you just put your strings there. Saves you a lot of work. It creates the table columns, and it also generates the models and the actual files and relationships. So, and I will probably go into the code and show you how that looks later. And so we also have like UI classes that with little code will generate UI components. And so it will look like this. You have form UI, and you just pass it the model and you render it, and it will render a form based on the fields that the stream has. It will do automated validation that you can control from a field type. You define how that input is going to be. There's many events we can hook into. There's the table UI. It's pretty much very, very easy to do. And so this is in its simplest form what it looks like, but you could modify properties of each of the UI classes. Like you could specify, like run in a chained manner a columns method and list a couple of fields you want to display. If you don't want to display the default ones, you can just specify them, the ones that you want to display. And you can do that in both table and form UI. And so the other thing is themes. This is what the structure of a theme will look like. Very simple. You have your CSS, your JS, your JavaScript, your views, and you basically structure them however you want to. And there's also a cool thing that we needed to do, and this is why I love working with Laravel so much. You always have a problem, and there's an easy solution within the framework for it. So what we needed to do is to be able to, let's say that you have many views in different modules, and you have views in field types, different kinds of add-ons, and from the theme, we want to allow the developer to, or the designer, to override how that view looks, basically. So you can place views in the theme that map to the same structure in an add-on, be it a module or a field type or whatever, and so it will instead use that one. And Laravel provided a very easy solution for that, which is view composers. Basically, you do this and you pass it a wildcard, and that just means it's gonna do it for every single view that is loaded. You can specify a specific view. You can start with a full wildcard, and then we'll only load the views that run the composer on the views that start with that word. And but in this case, we wanted to run it for everything. And in that composer, you do this class, and the view gets passed to the compose method, and it allows you to modify the behavior or do anything you want before the view is rendered. And I'll maybe jump to the code later because and show you how what we did it didn't fit in the slides, so I just putting that simple example there. And so this is what it does in our system. It will check if the view exists on the theme, and if it does, it will replace the original path with the theme path, and then it will set that path to the view object. It will modify it and return it from the composer, and it will. That's how it works. And if not, it will load the original view. And so the other thing is we developed a new template engine that's inspired on Lex, the Lex parser, which is used in PyroCMS, and it also has some inspiration from how Twig works. And so the big difference is that Lex parses the view and absolutely all the data and the view at runtime. And in Lexicon, which is the new parser, the new view compiler or template engine that we are doing, is The big difference is that it compiles to PHP. So it works in very similar to how Blade works. It's just that it has a bit of different syntax. And so this is a bit of code that shows how you can register a custom view engine from a service provider. So you would resolve the view, the view environment, which is just the view string, and you have an opportunity to share data to the view engine, and you will be able to add an extension, which in this case is HTML. So if you see that I'm grabbing the extension to be used from a config file, but if not, it will just default to HTML, which means that if just in the same way that if you end your view in blade.php, it will be loaded by Blade. In the same way, if you name it .html, it will be loaded by Lexicon. And we picked that extension because Lexicon, the whole purpose of it is to have a feel like an HTML structure. So Blade is that's the extension. It's just many say it's just nicer PHP, and so you don't have any limitations. You can run PHP in most of the parts, even though the view is parsed. You can, if you do that double tags, you can use PHP methods and call classes in there. Use variables, objects. There's no limitation. And so the big difference with Lexicon templates is that PHP has escaped on the template. The template is parsed and it compiles to PHP, but it doesn't allow you to use PHP. The whole philosophy behind Lexicon, and this follows what Lex does in PyroCMS, is that it's trying to restrain designers or developers from complicating the view, so that the view is as dumbed down as possible for designers. So it was sort of force you because it limits you. You have to pre-process the data and pass it to the view in a manner that's simple, and so you can't run methods. You can't run like any PHP that you want. Everything is whitelisted, and so the other way of extending it is with plugins, and well, it will allow you to react to different tag names and give you a result based on that. And so this is what a Blade template will look like. And so the same version in Lexicon will look like this. And so there's no method syntax where it's more like HTML tags. You have pairs. Like, for example, if I go back and forth here, we have the for each books, and so you run for each book, you get the title property. Here you can see that we open books and we close books in a similar fashion to HTML. And so you're like that. Yeah. So the title, it will react to the context of the loop. So you don't have to do books title. If you do title, it will know that you want the title for each book. And we'll add support for you to control how the item is named, and we'll give you a little bit of flexibility, but we want to keep it a little bit restrained so that the views look as simple as possible. And it also, what we did is we created all the corresponding tags from Blade. We created in Lexicon so that when they are parsed, they compile the same, they support all the features of the Laravel view environment. You know, like sections, extends, stop, include, all that stuff will be supported. It's just that the syntax varies very slightly. I'm pretty, oh, I can't believe I went through this so quickly. We're almost done. So
Yeah.
I can then jump to code and show you a few things. Just a couple of things. I mean, there's so much stuff we want to do, but these are like at the top of our list. We want an add-on store where developers can distribute free and paid modules and add-ons. And we want to have a built-in remote installer, which PyroCMS doesn't have at the moment. You have to download things, put it into the CMS yourself. And we would love to have that, you know, just to be able to, you know, search from the admin interface and just click and install any add-on. And so we want a REST API. We want to support distributions, which will be like, it's just versions of the same platform that specify a set of modules that are bundled with that distribution. You know, streams will have a set of a minimal set of essential add-ons for you to work with, probably users, probably at the minimum. And then PyroCMS will have a bunch of stuff. We'll have, you know, variables, blog, many applications within it. Almost all the applications that already exist in the 2.3 version. And we could have, blog is just an example, you know, we'd like to have different distributions. And so just putting some contact information in there because we are freelancing, so we're looking for any contract work out there. If anybody out there needs an extra developer for any project, I'm at your I am at your service. So let me just jump here to PHP Storm, show you a couple of things. So this is the users module here. Do you see okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Cool. So as I mentioned before, you can, within the module, you can organize your application however you want. You can put your controllers in that namespace. The thing is that all modules are prefixed with the following namespace structure, which is add-on module users, which is the module name. And then from that point on, you can just structure your classes however you want. And so this is how the table UI looks like. You can specify the columns you want to show. Let me go to, remember, this is just a work in progress. So it's generating the table for you. It will automatically do pagination, and you'll be able to customize the table just by modifying properties in here.
That's awesome.
For example, I'm going to do a subarray, and you can tell it how to render a field. So I can pass a closure, and it will return the entry. And I can return first name and And let's just add a bit of space here. So let's see if this works. So I modified the output of the column just by passing a closure here. Pretty easy. And the whole system is gonna allow to do so much stuff through the UI. You're gonna be able to manage, add new fields through the UI. So it's not just you install the fields and you're done. It's the fields installed initially are just the default ones, and then through the UI you can add more, and you can distribute the module, and users can just take over how the structure over the structure of the data. Obviously, you have also, if there's a couple of columns that will break your application if you delete them, you can specify for some fields to be locked so that users can't accidentally delete those columns. You can control which set of fields can be created or deleted. So also this is how the field schema will look like. We're hoping to simplify the syntax as much as possible. It's just the fields method. See, the user field schema extends the field schema, and you specify an array of fields. It's just a configuration, and so we have the email and the type. This is the field type. We have a bunch of field types here that come from PyroCMS, but we're porting to the stream systems and even improving. We want to rethink things and make them better. So you can also specify relations, and the stream systems will take care of generating the models. It will compile to, let's see, here. You have the streams, add-ons, and so when you install a module, it will just generate this for you. And so this is placed in a very predictable namespace that you can extend from your module, and in a very reliable manner that you can when it's installed. The model file doesn't exist initially, but you know that when the module is installed, that the file is gonna exist. And we've tested this many times, and it works well. It will also support automatic eager loading for the tables so that you have efficient queries.
That's good.
So literally, we're just trying to build a killer CMS that takes advantage of almost everything that Laravel has to offer. And
yeah, it looks really cool.
Thanks. That's and while I was talking to David at Laracon, he mentioned that he was doing a similar system. I would love to see what you have, and I'd love to show you what we have, and maybe we can, share some ideas and solutions.
Yeah, definitely. We'll have to do that sometime.
Pull it out right now, David. Just live. Let's just look at all of your...
I don't even think I have it running anywhere.
Not really.
So tags, let me show you here. have an asset tag. They're very simple to write. You can get attributes like this and just call any classes from Laravel and return results, and they will be produced in the view. They will be rendered in the view. Now, let me show you the views. Let me show you Lexicon developing over here. So Lexicon is a package. That's why I'm just developing a separate repo here. I have a hello plugin, test plugin, and just a hello method. And this is my my view. I have a collection of books, and this is kind of the same example I showed earlier, but I'll show you here live. There it is. It's just some raw HTML there, and test hello is the plugin here. It's just and so you can do attributes like this. It's very HTML-like. And see here, hello world turns to hello Osvaldo.
Yeah.
And it also supports ordered arguments. So if you omit the name of the argument, it will grab the first one and figure its name. So it helps you simplify some things, like, for example, section. So you don't have to do like layout equals. You just do, master, and you're done.
Right.
It simplifies the syntax. Let me see if I can include a view here. I have a partial here, and it's this is a variable that's been passed from the controller. Yes, it will return a string, so I'm just gonna do include partial. And you can see all these have the HTML extension. And so the view engine that powers Lexicon, and it's registered with this is the compiler engine. Sorry, that's registered to Laravel's view engine.
Yeah.
It's able to load the correct files in the same way that Blade works.
Right.
So there I inserted. Now I can show you how this compiles. If you take a look at the storage views, where the views are hashed, has a hash name. So here's the PHP that it produces. This is a collection, and it will just name the collection as book, books item, and iterate through it. It will automatically. The other big difference between Blade and Lexicon is that Lexicon analyzes the data and compares it with the tags, so that it helps you. It's like it fails silently. If you make a mistake, if let's say a variable doesn't exist, it will just not render. Whereas if you make a mistake in Blade, it's just PHP, so you'll get a PHP error or an exception.
Oh, okay.
So those are this is designed on purpose to do that, because it's part of the experience of designers. I don't want designers to see an exception if they did something wrong. I mean, obviously, we want to log exceptions so that developers can, remedy any things, and maybe I'll So maybe I'll enable exceptions with a setting. But if we publish the platform on production, it doesn't have to run exceptions. and just the designer, if they did something wrong, they just go back to the documentation and say, oh, this is why it didn't work, and just fix it. And
Right.
so it's all about we really want to provide targeted features, really great tools for developers, but really great simple UI for users, and also simple customizations for designers.
Hmm.
So, I mean, if you have any questions, is there anything you want to you want me to elaborate on?
Well, so too, if anybody's watching here, let me remind you, just go to laraveldfw.com/ask, and then we can take your questions. So laraveldfw.com/ask. David, do you have anything?
I was just wondering generally what the biggest challenge you've had building this so far, as far as being within the Laravel framework. What's been the biggest challenge so far to figure out?
Just recently, one of the biggest challenges has been publishing assets from different locations in the add-ons and modules, because the entire Laravel structure is within a private folder, and you map your host points to the public folder.
Mm-hmm.
And so we began using. We kind of had an idea of how to do it, but Ryan Thompson really spent like a couple of days like trying to figure out how to do it correctly. It wasn't easy, but finally we got something going that works. We started using the ascetic package,
Mm-hmm.
which takes care of almost everything, except, it's just a matter of letting ascetic know where to publish things and in what structure. So in the same manner that views are namespace, you can build in you can add namespaces to views. Like starting, let's say there's a theme namespace. You start a view path with theme : the view.
Mm-hmm.
So it knows that it has to look in the theme location for those views. So in the same manner, we are using like a namespace system where modules can have assets, and so the stream systems knows where to grab them and where to publish them in the public. And so in development, it will constantly publish the assets, so that if you make changes, you see them live. But when you put production, they will just be cached.
Yeah.
Static assets. Just like that.
Right. Well, that's really cool. So what do you think the biggest help to people will be with this?
I think the biggest if you look at the video again, and maybe if you were in throughout this presentation, what you can take out of it is that for every problem, most probably Laravel has a very simple solution, and if not, the solution is going to be in a package.
Right.
Out there, thought of it, and if it doesn't solve the problem, at least it will solve about 80% of the problem, and you just have to figure out the other 20. And so there's also a couple of tricks that we have to figure out how to do that I hope people take advantage of that.
Right.
Yes, that's it.
What kind of time scale are you on as far as releasing?
That's a good question. There's always it would be awesome if we could and then there's the realistic
Yeah.
release date. I would love to release it by the time Laracon EU in August, because then
Uh,
we can release it, and take advantage of that, you know, steer, a little bit of awareness.
yeah.
Uh,
Mm.
but it will, this whole thing with open source development has changed my life in a huge, very like meaningful manner because I'm so passionate about it that I'm leaving my job to be a freelancer. I have a stable job here at the University of Massachusetts, and I love what I do more in open source than here, honestly. So um, now that I'm gonna have more flexibility with my time, hopefully I'll be able to develop more open source solutions. And obviously I'll have to figure out how to with Ryan, grow the company and get awareness and provide services. Because yeah, it's a huge change for me.
So
But
that's actually really a good dovetail. So Doug Johnson asks, um, are you looking to do this closed source or open source? Which I guess you answered this is open source.
Streams is gonna be open source.
Yeah.
The platform itself. Um, what probably will have very advanced paid modules for it, but the platform itself will be free.
He also
And
asked, are you looking for any help or like people to, I mean, on any level, I guess, from just working on the open source project to just trying to do pull requests or anything like
yeah, we'd
that?
love help, and we'd love to. Well, obviously, the help from developers is very welcome. We have to at least get it to a stable version, like maybe an alpha, because it's basically me and Ryan making decisions, and once that's done, we can bring in, if people want to help and test the application, fine tune some features. Yeah, that'd be awesome. And we'll just have a public GitHub repo, and people will be able to fork it and send pull requests. Uh, so yeah, and also we really need a designer. We are trying our best to make a simple and very well designed UI for the admin, because really for the front end it's whatever you design, whatever theme you want to do. Um, and so yeah, that help from either developers or designers will be welcome.
That's really cool. Do you have documentation or any like starts for that anywhere yet?
Yeah, very soon. Hopefully, when we solidify, because many of the features are in flux, and we're trying to, you know, do the implement the features in the best possible manner and have the best possible syntax, where it's very expressive and easy to write. And so we're constantly changing things. It doesn't, once we have like a more solid, stable code base, then we'll begin writing documentation. Hopefully, we'll have some documentation when we release.
Yeah, I would think. I mean, I don't know. This isn't really like an advice thing, but I think if I was to give any advice, just based on Laravel, probably the biggest thing that's really helped it launch is having such good documentation. So that alone, I think, really, 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 really helps open source projects to get caught up. Because if people don't understand how to do things, then they can't really use it. So
That's very
sounds
true.
cool, though.
It's very very important to us. We'll definitely have very good documentation for it, at least when the first stable release we'll have a complete documentation.
That's cool. Well, does anybody else have any questions? Again, laraveldfw.com/ask. Feel free to send them in. So, Stuart, I see you in here. What about you?
Yeah, I was curious if you were making Lexicon available to be essentially pulled into
Yeah,
a Laravel project separate from streams.
it's open source. It's It was designed with Laravel in mind, but you can possibly use it with other frameworks, and it will be on packages for you to pull as it requires.
Cool.
So
Yeah.
it'll be separate from streams.
Yeah, it's like in the same way that Lex, it's a package and it's used in Pyro. Other CMSs use it, like I think Statamic uses it. Lexicon will be available in the same way.
Cool. Yeah, I really like the way that it kind of really separates the designer from the code, because sometimes I'll have, PHP in the view that kind of can throw them off, and
It
the
will force you
syntax.
to think differently because of the limitations. You have to It forces you to pass the data, like pre-process it, and have a simpler view.
That's
Yeah.
really cool.
I was trying to think with the CMS that I've built, just like the differences in the views. You kind of got like it almost reminds me of Liquid. Have you messed around with Liquid at all in the Rails community?
No, I'd like to see it.
I think it's like a Ruby template thing, and it's kind of the dot syntax to transform data is pretty cool. Like your say hello.
Yeah, I want to check that out. How is it called?
Liquid.
Liquid. That's the actual template engine.
Mm-hmm.
I'll take note of that.
That's really so. How does it compare, or how does it differ?
Well, I have a little bit of experience with it, but it's just like using the dot syntax to like transform the data in the view. Just because Ruby's kind of built that way to be able to call methods on these types.
What I like about that is that the designer doesn't have to think about, okay, is this an array, is this an object, is this a method? It's just treating things like real objects in life. Okay, I have a book, I want to grab the title. Then, you have to think about much programmatical concepts.
Yeah, because I've found that even in views, sometimes you're tempted to take a date time type and do, well, in Laravel, a lot of times it's a carbon instance, and so you're calling diff for humans or making some sort of transformation in the view side, and it looks like you're trying to get that away from the designer to simplify it.
Yeah, but with plugins, you could have really nice syntax for that. You could, from a plugin, return a datetime object and then have an attribute where you pass the format, and they can put the string and format it. So it has some restrictions, but at the same time, it has a little bit of flexibility.
Yeah, it won't squawk at you if you make a mistake, for one, which is nice.
Yeah, for sure.
It will also allow you to simplify the syntax of, let's say if you're using some sort of decorator like a presenter. You have some very complex object that has like a very long method name, like get foo attribute. you're not gonna expect, designer to do that whole thing as a property. So you can wrap your object with a presenter or a view model and have a method that has a simpler name like proof, and it just runs, it just grabs the property from the original object. And Lexicon is capable, because it's capable of using objects. You can write plugins that look really, the syntax is really simple, but yet you can, leverage object properties and methods.
That's cool. Well, so I guess that about wraps this up. Does anybody have anything else they'd like to chat about? I don't know, David, Stewart, you guys have any questions? I guess it can be about anything, really. And anybody that's watching, feel free, laraveldfw.com/ask. We can maybe chat for a little bit more about just random stuff, if you have anything.
I had a question on the kind of compatibility with PHP versions, since, or like how far you can basically only go back as far as Laravel will allow you. And it wondered if you saw that as a problem or a challenge.
The only thing, I don't know if I'm wrong for doing this, but I started using the new array syntax, like for a 5.4 forward, right? So it goes back as far as Laravel, I guess, because Laravel, what is the lowest supported PHP in Laravel?
I believe it's 5.4 now, with 4.2 maybe.
Yeah, basically that. But we're not doing anything outrageous in the whole streams platform that gonna break compatibility, unless, like, and most of the packages we're using are fairly popular. So I guess most of them have good practices and are very reliable across all the versions.
Yeah, I guess you have to do quite a bit of research and just documentation to keep up with that stuff. It's a whole other ball game of just having a little doc that just says the compatibility zones.
Yeah, you'll have 5.3.7, which is what Laravel supports, and then the mcrypts and, extension will have to be installed, basically, too. So I think people can do that.
Yep, for sure.
But I want to go and I want any 5.3. Anything higher than that is good. Just like I guess.
Right. Well, I haven't gotten any other emails in from the questions, but yeah, well, thank you, Osvaldo. I guess we can give you a little round of applause.
Thank you.
So thanks for sharing that. Yeah, so we'll, I guess, have a good June. It's hot here in Texas, so
That's
I
good.
guess Stuart, you're on the West Coast, right?
Yeah, I'm actually in Massachusetts. Are you in Massachusetts as well, Osvaldo?
Yeah. I've been here 2 years, and I'm fed up with the snow.
Oh.
So I welcome the warmth.
Yeah, it's well, I go to school in Ohio, but I live in Massachusetts, so.
That's cool.
And I'm in Bedford right now. I'm in the office in the university right now because my home internet connection is so bad. I didn't want it to ruin this presentation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we just go around and kind of talk maybe like one cool thing that we're working on, and then I can kind of wrap with, I'll just recap the announcements and stuff. So I guess, Stuart, you're the somewhat newcomer, so tell us a little about yourself and what something cool you've been doing like the past week or something.
Yeah, so I have a small startup We make iOS apps, and I do mostly our REST API. We've had multiple apps. We currently have one called Fetch, which is essentially you can create drawings and share them on public web pages. So you can share a unique link. And then recently, we're working on kind of like a second version of that. So I guess right now I'm working on well, actually, so the first version of that is built on CodeIgniter. But now it's all on Laravel. And yeah, I'm kind of doing some stuff with live JSON drawing, which has kind of been fun, but fairly new to Laravel. I guess it's only been like maybe 3 months.
So do you do iOS development as well?
I don't. Well, yeah, no, I don't do iOS, Objective-C, or any of that. But I have someone that does that, and then just do the API for it, as well as our like front end to web pages and whatnot.
That's cool. Well, David, what about you?
Well, I've always got some iron in the fire. I guess the latest thing was at Laracon, you and I stayed up one night till like 4 in the morning and worked on a site called forgerecipes.com
Yeah.
for the newly announced Laravel Forge. What would you call it? What would you say that service is?
Isn't it like platform as a service management something? By the way, you should buy 4eggrecipes.com. That's what I just typed and it didn't work.
4 egg recipes?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, it's just a site that in Forge you've got this idea of recipes that you can apply across all your servers, and this is just a site that is cataloging a bunch of them as we get them. So if you have any recipes that you use on Laravel Forge or something like that, we'd love to have it on there. We built it in like 2 nights, so it was pretty crazy.
Awesome.
Yeah, so that's FORGE recipes.com. So, yeah, that was pretty cool. Osvaldo, I guess you kind of talked about what you've been working on. But anything else? Any like smaller things?
No, I'm just personal level. I'm excited to go to Texas. I'm going there mainly because my parents are over there, and so I hope to see you all, very soon, and in our upcoming meetups. And for those of you who I haven't met yet, I'd love to get to know you and talk about Laravel development stuff. I also want to learn iOS, Objective-C. I subscribed to Treehouse.
Well, I need to learn Swift.
Yeah, now you have to bail out and learn Swift. It's really nice, actually. I've read about 75% of the book they released. It's really got some nice stuff in it.
Cool.
Not to dissuade you from anything you've learned already. I mean, but
I'm new to this, to the whole thing. So
Objective-C is just the ugliest thing.
Develop something for iOS. Never done it. Was eager to do something.
Well, so what have I been doing? I mean, Laracon was fun, and then I lightly helped David with Forge recipes, very lightly. But then, what else? I don't really know. There's some cool stuff we're doing at the music bed right now. Yeah, that's all I can really say about it. But there's some really cool stuff we're doing that's going to come out soon. Pretty excited about some of that. And yeah, I mean, things are moving. So I'm looking for a JavaScript developer. So if you're watching this and you know uh, Ember JS, that would be cool. Message me or something. That would be really nice to know. So if anybody knows that out there, to the YouTube people that are watching this and from the future, you time travelers, come talk to me in the past, and it'll be good. But yeah, that's what we're doing. So, well, cool. Well, thanks again, Osvaldo. I guess we can kind of close out. Didn't get any other questions, so let me just recap really quickly on the whatchamacallits announcements. So, free Laravel class again, laraveldfw.com/Dallas Makerspace. Job opportunity. Don, someone he knows is looking for a 5 to 10 year experience PHP and JavaScript developer. So shoot an email over to talk@laraveldfw.com if you're interested. And then PHP World. So call the papers. If you're interested. Shoot us an email at talk@laraveldfw.com or check out laraveldfw.com/phpworld. And yeah, they're looking for somebody to talk about Laravel, so that could be a really cool opportunity. But for the rest of you, thanks for watching, and thanks for coming along and for sending in questions. If you have anything else you want to know about Laravel, post it on the Meetup, and you can just search Laravel DFW on meetup.com, or go to laraveldfw.com. Yeah, sorry, there's a lot of .coms in what I just said. So it's fun. So 4.2 is out. That launched last week, so that's awesome too. So yeah, thank you guys for joining me and for joining all the rest of these fine people. Osvaldo, thank you for your talk.
Thank you for having me.
All right, peace, you guys. Have a good week.
Take it easy.
Thanks.